90-plus Iranian military sites in Kharg Island destroyed by Israeli fighter jet. Tensions in the Middle East surged dramatically after a massive wave of airstrikes reportedly hit more than 90 Iranian military targets on Kharg Island, according to officials from United States Central Command. The large-scale operation targeted some of the most heavily fortified Iranian military infrastructure in the Persian Gulf, including naval mine depots, missile bunkers, radar installations, logistics facilities, and underground storage complexes. The strikes mark one of the most extensive attacks on Iranian strategic assets in recent years and signal a dangerous escalation in the shadow war between Israel and Iran. The attack focused on Kharg Island, a small but extremely strategic island located about 25 kilometers off Iran's southern coast in the Persian Gulf. Despite its modest size, Kharg Island is widely regarded as the lifeline of Iran's oil export economy, handling an estimated 85 to 90% of the country's crude oil shipments to international markets. Massive oil storage tanks, export terminals, and loading facilities dominate the island's coastline, turning it into one of the most important energy hubs in the Middle East. Because of this strategic importance, the island is also heavily militarized, with defensive missile systems, naval bases, and fortifications operated largely by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps (IRGC). Military analysts believe Iran has long used the island not only as an oil export hub, but also as a forward military platform designed to control shipping lanes in the Persian Gulf. According to military sources, the operation involved precision-guided strikes against dozens of hardened military facilities, many of them buried underground or protected by reinforced bunkers. Targets reportedly included naval mine storage facilities believed to house hundreds of sea mines, ballistic and anti-ship missile bunkers used for coastal defense, command and communication centers, radar and surveillance systems monitoring Gulf traffic, military logistics depots, and ammunition storage sites. Several of these installations were reportedly operated by the IRGC's Naval Division, which specializes in asymmetric maritime warfare, including fast attack boats, missile batteries, and naval mines. Explosions were reported across multiple sectors of the island, with large plumes of smoke rising into the sky and fires burning near several military compounds. Local maritime traffic in the surrounding waters reportedly halted temporarily as the strikes unfolded. One of the most significant aspects of the attack is its connection to the nearby Strait of Hormuz, the narrow maritime passage linking the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman and the global ocean. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the most strategically critical choke points in the world. Roughly 20% of global oil shipments pass through the strait every day, making it a vital artery for the international energy market. Iran has repeatedly threatened to block or disrupt the strait during times of conflict, often referencing its stockpile of naval mines and anti-ship missiles stationed along the Gulf Coast and nearby islands. By targeting mine storage sites and missile bunkers on Kharg Island, analysts believe the strike may have been designed to preemptively weaken Iran's ability to close the strait or threaten shipping lanes. Despite the scale of the bombardment, early reports suggest that the island's major oil export facilities were not directly targeted. This includes the enormous crude storage tanks and loading terminals that ship millions of barrels of oil every day. This detail is seen as significant. Directly destroying Kharg Island's oil infrastructure could trigger a massive shock to global energy markets, potentially sending oil prices soaring worldwide. Instead, the strike appears to have focused primarily on military capabilities rather than economic infrastructure, a move analysts say may have been intended to send a powerful military signal while avoiding an immediate global economic crisis. Even with that restraint, the attack represents a major strategic blow to Iran's military posture in the Persian Gulf. Iranian officials have repeatedly warned that attacks on key national infrastructure or military installations would be met with retaliation. Possible responses from Tehran could include ballistic missile strikes against Israeli targets, drone attacks on regional military bases, naval operations targeting oil tankers in the Gulf, proxy attacks through allied militias across the Middle East. Some analysts warn that if Iran retaliates directly against Israel or U.S. assets in the region, the situation could spiral into a much wider regional conflict. The strike on Kharg Island is part of a growing pattern of confrontation between Israel and Iran that has intensified over the past decade. Both sides have engaged in covert operations, cyber warfare, assassinations, and precision military strikes targeting each other's strategic assets. However, direct attacks on major Iranian infrastructure remain rare due to the enormous risk of escalation. That is why the latest strike is being closely watched by governments and energy markets worldwide. Because Kharg Island plays such a crucial role in Iran's oil exports, any prolonged instability around the island could have ripple effects far beyond the Middle East. Energy traders are closely monitoring the situation for signs that the conflict could threaten shipping routes or disrupt oil production. If tensions continue to rise, particularly around the Strait of Hormuz, the result could be dramatic volatility in global oil prices, impacting economies from Asia to Europe and North America. For now, the full extent of the damage on Kharg Island remains unclear. Satellite imagery and intelligence assessments in the coming days will likely reveal how much of Iran's missile and naval infrastructure was destroyed. What is clear, however, is that the strike has pushed the Persian Gulf into an extremely tense moment. With one of Iran's most strategic locations under direct attack and the potential for retaliation looming, the region now stands at the edge of a dangerous new phase of confrontation, one that could reshape the balance of power across the Middle East.